it's 12 long hours, babe, till I'm home to my guitar. I'm tired and I'm worried, so tired since we part. I have a cold dark feeling I won't be loved anymore. I have a cold dark feeling I won't be loved anymore. Because I failed with every woman, and now they don't even call.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's 12 long hours. Ritchie Dave Porter from his brand new album, End of the Line. And Ritchie, I love it. I love what you're doing. You've got your own signature sound. It's the blues. You touch a little bit of a pop sound occasionally, but it's your own sound no matter how you cut it. And I really happy for you. Now, I know it took a little more than 12 hours, but you had to have spent some time in the studio. What was it like actually sitting down and working on this album in the studio?
Well, to be honest, David, this album came together the fastest as far as in the studio, because I've been writing the songs for about 2 years. Well, slightly less than 2 years. And when I'd compose in my little flat, I'd just sit there with me and the guitar, and I'd just go over and over and over it again till I'm happy with the structure and the words, and the songs where I want it to be. So when I went in to do the album, I actually only recorded the whole album in 2 days at Capsa Arc Studios in Birmingham, because literally all the preparation was done, and it was literally a case of going in there with one acoustic guitar, performing unplugged in a 32-track state-of-the-art digital studio, and literally just laying it down there and then. It was very straightforward, very easy to do. It was the first time I worked with Matt and Adam, who were the producers. I met them both before I went in and did the album. I spoke to them and I said, listen, I don't want to create Dark Side of the Moon. I don't want to do Sgt. Pepper. I'm a blues man. I mix Spanish with blues and jazz sometimes, and yes, I do write some commercial type songs too that are all blues based, but I wanted to go there, I wanted to set up, I wanted to perform it live, I wanted to record it, and then all I did was, once I recorded the songs with the guitar and vocals at the same time, I just overdubbed a second guitar part on most of the tracks, just to flesh it out a little more, to give it a bit more meat on the bones, and that was literally how the album was done. 10 of the tracks were purely acoustic unplugged, which was done at Capsa Arcs with Matt and Adam. And then there was one track, Happy Home, which was Michael Tingle, my previous producer of all the first 3 albums, coming back on drums, who also produced Happy Home, and he did that in the Moon and Sky mobile recording studio, and we did that in the Lickey Hills and played at maximum volume. So that was the only track on the album that involved, a Gibson SG guitar. And that was the only sort of blues rock track of the album. Whereas the rest of the album is unplugged acoustic blues and unplugged acoustic blues meets Spanish, or also is more singer-songwriter type stuff. But I'm really pleased with the overall sound. Yeah, I think it's a good album.
I agree 100%, and I know John Bon Jovi does too. It's really kind of funny because you and I didn't get a chance to work together on which tracks we were going to use on the show or the order we were going to play them, and it's really convenient that you happen to hit on Happy Home at this point, because that's the next track up, and we're going to listen to it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Ritchie Dave Porter and Happy Home.
my woman and my happy home. I'm a single man, I have no woman and no child. I'm a single man, I have no woman and no child. I don't have no lover around to make me smile. Wandering man, you don't see me hanging round. I'm a wandering man, you don't see me hanging round. You won't see me going begging, take my ring off of your hand. I'm a lonely man, I don't like to be alone. I'm a lonely man, I don't like to be alone. I have lost my woman and my happy home. I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group, and I hope you passed the audition.
there you go, Ritchie Dave Porter. I love it. Editorializing at the end of your music there. Where did you come up with that idea?
Oh, basically, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group, and I hope you passed the audition. That's actually taken from the Beatles.
Yeah,
that's
the Beatles
taken
did
from
that.
Something that John Lennon said once.
Yeah, that was the rooftop concert.
The rooftop
Right.
concert. That's the one where they did Get Back and Don't Let Me Down, the last Beatles concert. And originally, I just said it as a joke. And then Mike said, we're going to leave that in. And I just said, okay, why? And he said, because it's cool. He says, and people that love the Beatles are going to get the joke. He says, the song's not a joke, but it's just fun to put it in at the end. So we left it in.
Exactly.
And I think it's a bit of fun at the end of a good blues rock song.
Oh yeah, it is definitely. I wanted to be sure and draw that out and have you explain it, or well, primarily for people who aren't aware of that piece of Beatles history there, so they can relate to it, because there's, as everybody knows, there's tons of Beatles fans out there, and a great sound. We're not ready to let you go to your happy home yet, though, Ritchie. We've got more questions and some more music too. John Bon Jovial, I know you're sitting there just anxious to get a question in here. What you got?
Chomping at the bit. Yeah, Ritchie, I want to backtrack a little bit to before we played Happy Home, and I want you to expound a little bit more on the musical talent that you have assembled to put this album together, and tell me just exactly what you were looking for, who you were looking for, and what were the qualifications that you needed to achieve the sound.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of research. I mean, basically the team was originally Michael Tingle as producer and drummer and in charge of uploading to Apple Music, Amazon, CD Baby, all of that. Michael moved to Cornwall, and obviously me and Michael, we go back years. He's done 3 albums and 3 singles with me, so I wanted Mike to still work with me and still be actively involved, especially when I needed a drummer for like heavy blues rock tracks. So it was impossible to use Mike for the whole album because of the distance. So basically what I did was I started researching every top quality professional recording studio in the Midlands area, because I didn't want to travel to London and record and come back. I wanted to literally record in the Midlands, and there's plenty of good studios up there. So eventually I settled on Capsa Arcs after I went round and chatted to the producers and told them what I wanted. So after hearing some of their previous albums that they've recorded there, I settled on Capsa Arcs and Matt and Adam because they were young, they were experienced. Sometimes producers that have been doing it a long time, they kind of lose the vibe. They don't seem to, you know. I think the important thing is I made it clear from the word go that this is my album. I want it to sound like this. I want it to sound like a guy who's put the practice in with an acoustic guitar and vocals. I wanted it to be my vision as I saw it in my head in the finished product. So basically I went in there not being arrogant or bossy or anything like that, but I said, listen guys, this is what I've rehearsed, this is how I want it to sound, and I want you to record it as it is. I don't want you to try and make it sound like something it isn't. I wanted it to sound like me, but in a top quality recording studio. So that was the vision.
I think you've accomplished just that. Yeah, you've accomplished just that.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
These guys that you brought in, you know, you're directing them, okay, I want you to do it this way, I don't want you to do it your way. What kind of difficulty, if any, did you have in getting them to follow your lead on that?
None at all. I mean, basically, I said to Matt and Adam, and they know what they're doing. I mean, they're very accomplished metal musicians themselves. You know, they're very, very good at what they do. I just went in there and said, this is how I want it to be. I don't want you to try and change anything. But I also want you to experiment with the microphones and, you know, have maybe one microphone here, one microphone there. And again, the reason I know what I want is as well as playing guitar for 34, 35 years and working really, really hard at it, I was really influenced by reading about how the Beatles recorded with George Martin and how, in particular, Jimmy Page masterminded the whole recording process of Led Zeppelin. And more than anything, I would say Jimmy Page as a producer influenced me in sort of co-producing this album, really. They produced the finished products, but I had total say in the sound and how I wanted it to be, even to the point of where I wanted the microphones positioned, because basically I copied Jimmy Page, really, that when he recorded Led Zeppelin,
and that lets me segue right directly to my next question about microphone placement, because as David will tell you, I'm kind of the techie end of the duo here, but it seems to me, and especially in the blues at sunrise and blues at twilight, that there's this, for lack of better words, this ambient distance to the music. And I'm wondering if in addition to the microphones, you know, the way you mic'd your guitar directly, did you have something up on the ceiling off in the corner somewhere that was hot?
Yes.